Welcome to NarrativeNook Audiotales, where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Why went for a walk alone? Trying to avoid them on purpose? Chaucel, have some fruit. Serena served the cut fruits by the servant to Chaucel herself, saying with a beaming smile, "They're all your favorites. Thanks." Just as Chaucel poked a piece with the fruit fork, Serena seized the opportunity to act spoiled. "Chaucel, I can't eat with this plate in my hand. Can you feed me one?" Chaucel got her hint. "You're all grown up now. Do you still want your brother to feed you?" "I just want you to feed me." "So you're treating me like I'm not your sister just because Arabella back?" Chaucel had no choice but to feed her the fruit. "Satisfied now?" "Satisfied, haha, thanks Chaucel." Serena then looked to the side and saw Romeo leaving the hall for the garden to meet Arabella. She said, "I'll bring some to my brother-in-law too." "Serena." Chaucel wanted to tell her that Romeo already had a fiancé and it was best to keep a certain distance, but in the blink of an eye, Serena had already run off. "Romeo, no, brother-in-law, have some fruit?" Serena handed over the fruit plate with both hands, looking all innocent. But Romeo didn't even take a glance and stood up, ready to head for the door. "Just having some fruit, you don't even want that?" Serena blocked his way, sounding a bit upset. "Are you afraid I mean something else? I didn't poison the fruit, I just simply wanted you to have some. Do you hate me this much? Won't even eat the fruit I'm serving?" Romeo glanced at her impatiently and said, "Keep it away." Serena was a bit down. "Even if you don't like me, you don't have to take it out on our family's fruit, right? It's also from my sister's house. Just pretend it's Arabella offering it. If you eat one piece, I'll leave." Serena showed a mischievous smile, poked a piece of mango, and handed it to him, saying, "Come on, just one piece. Can't you understand what I'm saying?" There was a hint of displeasure in Romeo's eyes. "I've told you, stop wasting your time on me. Can't I even offer you some fruit?" Serena looked a bit upset, looking quite pitiful. "If it were my sister serving you the fruit, you would definitely eat it without hesitation, right? No, with her personality, she would never serve you fruit. You've always taken care of her, but she doesn't know how to return the favor." "Romeo, enough." Romeo didn't want to hear more and passed her towards the door. "Romeo." Serena quickly called him. "I wanted to tell you today that I have a boyfriend now. I've gotten over you. If all goes well, I might marry him. You don't have to be so cautious about me. I'll keep my distance if you don't want me close." Romeo stopped. How could he not know her sudden change was a strategic retreat? He thought he was easy to fool. "Wish you and my sister happiness." Serena was ready to turn around and leave after saying this, but seeing Chaucel, she obediently called out, "Chaucel, I'll go in first if there's nothing else." Chaucel nodded, then looked at Romeo's retreating figure. He saw Serena bothering Romeo just now and thought Serena couldn't let go of the marriage, but hearing what she said later, Chaucel's doubts were gone, and it seemed he was overthinking. "Serena probably has no other intentions towards you." "I'm not sure, but keeping my distance from all the ladies seems like the right move," Romeo said, then looked up at Chaucel and asked, "Chaucel, what brings you here?" "Bella said she wanted to take a walk alone, and I couldn't just sit still, so I came to check on her." "Same here. Are you really not interested in Serena at all?" Chaucel asked as they walked on. "If Bella hadn't come back to this family, would you have married Serena?" "No way." Romeo's voice was firm. "Actually, I even considered calling off the engagement before." Not only had he considered it, he had actually almost done it. But then he found out that his betrothed was Bella, so he changed his mind at the last minute. Hearing this, Chaucel was taken aback. "Do you realize what calling off the engagement at the last minute would mean for our two families?" "I'm aware. It would mean a total fallout between the two families. It would mean he and David could no longer be brothers. It would mean he'd have a formidable competitor in the business world. It would mean accusations from his family, a loss of the elder's dignity, and the reputation of the Macmillan family being completely tarnished. But I can't commit to a lifetime with someone I don't love, and I believe you guys wouldn't want your beloved one being neglected by me either." Chaucel was puzzled. Is Serena really that bad? Over all these years, hasn't she attracted you at all? I don't know if you've noticed, Chaucel, But ever since Bella came back home, Serena hasn't exactly been friendly to her, Romeo pointed out, including deliberately provoking and testing Bella at the dinner table and her inappropriate behavior. Romeo, Serena is my sister. These words were hard to swallow. Before Serena's true identity was revealed, every member of the Collins family had doted on her for 18 years. Not only Kenneth and Louisa, but all 5 brothers treated her like a princess, catering to her every need and protecting her at all costs. This princess, whom they've watched grow up, might be a bit haughty, but surely she's not as bad as Romeo painted her to be. Chaucel was having a hard time hearing someone speak ill of his sister in front of him. Romeo understood, after all, who would suspect their innocent sister of having ulterior motives? Just like he wouldn't suspect his family of being bad people without reason, right? She's been the princess for 18 years, and suddenly everything she had no longer belongs to her. It's normal for her to feel left out and try to draw attention. It's just girly stuff as long as she doesn't hurt Bella. Just as Chaucel finished, Romeo asked, "And if she causes trouble for Bella, would you stand by and do nothing?" "If she intentionally targets Bella, I'll stop her once I notice. And if it happens where you can't see? Or if you can't do anything about it?" Chaucel looked at Romeo, seemingly dissatisfied. "Is Serena really that bad in your eyes? You saw what happened when she sent the fruit." Romeo met his gaze, word by word, his voice firm. "Her intentions weren't pure. If I heard correctly, she was trying to draw a line between you two. I could hear your footsteps from far away, couldn't she?" "You're saying she deliberately let me overhear those things?" Chaucel's expression darkened. "So in your eyes, she's already gone to the dogs. In his heart, she didn't exist, not even a shadow. You're saying she's got a hidden agenda. Has she been bothering you behind my back? Or did she do something to hurt Bella? You've just gotten back, and you might not be in the loop. You can do some snooping around when you have time, and then you'll see if what I'm saying is true." It was just a heads up. He didn't expect Chaucel to be Bella's knight in shining armor. He could handle his own girl. Chaucel didn't play favorites with his sisters. He watched Serena grow up, and he had a good read on her. But Romeo wasn't one to badmouth people, especially girls. So what was the real issue here? Was Romeo being overprotective of Bella? Or had Serena really done something out of line that he, as her brother, was oblivious to? Thinking back to the dinner table, Serena just acted cute, asking him to serve her food and soup. She didn't step out of line. Smart people knew to keep up a good relationship with family. Even if she were against Bella, at least on the surface, things should be harmonious. Serena was surely aware of this. After all, without the Collins family, she'd be nothing. She'd go from living the high life to hitting rock bottom. So was she really as dense as Romeo suggested, approaching him with ulterior motives, disrupting Bella's happiness, and acting unfriendly towards Bella? If not, was someone pulling her strings from behind the scenes? And who could that be? Seeing Chaucel deep in thought, Romeo knew he'd at least taken some of it to heart. It seemed he hadn't been blinded by family ties. In front of her family, Serena wouldn't make Bella's life difficult. It seemed that behind the scenes, it was time for her true colors to show on the other side. A small knife was pressed against a short-haired girl's throat. Arabella, holding the knife, asked coldly, "Who are you?" She'd felt watched ever since she got home in the afternoon. But her minions reported that no one was staking out her house. She decided to take another look, and sure enough, her own skills led her to a shady figure. The short-haired girl wore a mask, revealing only a pair of beautiful eyes that looked somewhat displeased. Judging by her eyes, she seemed only a year or two older than Arabella. A trained assassin from who knows where. So young? And who are you? The short-haired girl was irked. If she hadn't been caught off guard, how could she have been found out by Arabella, let alone threatened with a knife? Arabella's minions hadn't spotted her. She thought her stealth skills were top-notch. "I'm the one asking questions." Arabella's knife moved a little closer. Her voice was cold as ice. "Who sent you? Or do you have your own agenda? If you don't spill it, you won't be speaking anymore." Humph. This little girl was too arrogant. Her words were full of contempt. The short-haired girl was evidently more annoyed. Do you dare kill me at the doorstep of the Collins family? The short-haired girl squinted her eyes, apparently disbelieving, and saying, if you have the guts, do it now. This girl was quite brave. Arabella didn't hold back, pressing the knife closer, and in an instant, a bright red streak of blood ran down the short-haired girl's neck. You really dare to hurt me? The short-haired girl seemed very surprised. She didn't expect the young girl to be so decisive. If you don't start talking, I'll make it even more painful for you, then toss you into the sea for the sharks. Hearing this, the short-haired girl's eyes blazed with even greater fury. Does Chaucel know you're like this? Was this chick here to give Chaucel a hard time? Seeing Arabella hesitate for a moment, the short-haired girl quickly snatched the knife away. But Arabella wasn't about to take it lying down. She reacted agilely, engaging in a fierce struggle with the short-haired girl. This was the first time the short-haired girl had seen someone her age move so swiftly. This girl was definitely not your average college student. Who the hell was she? A secret agent trained by the Ministry of State Security? Or did she have some other concealed identity? Arabella aimed a kick at her chest, but it was blocked by her crossed arms, pushing her back a meter. Seeing that her wound was still bleeding, Arabella said coldly, if you don't treat that wound, you'll be dead in an hour. I suggest you spill the truth, and I'll make your death a bit easier. You're pretty cocky. The short-haired girl launched another attack, each one full of lethal intent. The more she fought back against Arabella, the more familiar Arabella's movements seemed, until Arabella landed a quick spinning kick. The short-haired girl failed to defend herself in time due to her injury and fell to the ground. You're from the triangular zone, aren't you? She asked, even more surprised. The head of the Mafia flame is a girl? Arabella's eyes showed a hint of surprise. This short-haired girl knew her identity? This could be trouble. Just as Arabella was about to make a move, Chaucel's voice suddenly rang out. Bella, what's going on? Turning around, Arabella saw Chaucel and Romeo approaching. The short-haired girl was about to run away when she heard Chaucel's voice. Myrna? What are you doing here? Myrna? Chaucel knew her, and judging by his tone, they seemed to be quite close. What happened to your neck? Chaucel noticed the wound on Myrna Geller's neck. Although it wasn't serious, the sight of blood was alarming. He looked at Arabella with a complex look in his eyes. With Myrna's abilities, getting close to her was almost impossible, let alone injuring her. How did Bella manage that? And she could actually hurt Myrna? Did you take leave to introduce your girlfriend to your parents? Myrna was the first to speak, her voice filled with suspicion. Hearing this, Arabella thought, well, this was getting interesting. She decided to just stand by and watch. What are you talking about? Let's get that wound taken care of first. Although such minor injuries were common for people from the Ministry of State Security, it was still on her neck. If not treated, it could be life-threatening. You're not avoiding relationships, you're just avoiding a relationship with me. Myrna's eyes suddenly filled with humiliation and anger. Myrna. Myrna shot Arabella a pained look, not understanding what was so appealing about her and feeling utterly miffed. Did Chaucel know she's the boss of Mafia Flame? She couldn't fathom what kind of charm this young girl possessed to make Chaucel so smitten. The most popular hunk in the whole Ministry of State Security had finally fallen for a young girl, which left her baffled. She had witnessed Chaucel showering the girl with gifts today, truckloads of them. When Chaucel got out of the car, he even opened the door for her, gently playing with her hair. All she could do was watch with envy at their intimate gestures. Even Serena had rushed over from school just to see her sister-in-law. They all seemed like one big happy family, and here she was. Are you talking about Bella? Chaucel reacted, finding it amusing yet a bit helpless, sensing a big misunderstanding here. Bella. They even had such a cozy nickname for her. That really got her goat. What do you even like about her? Myrna's eyes welled up with tears. Had Arabella not been there, she might have already burst into tears. Let's go inside and tend to your wounds first. Chaucel thought it was a long story, and the most pressing matter was to treat Myrna's injuries. You always say we're not a match due to our status and age difference. What about her? Is she a good match? Arabella, seemingly predicting what she was about to say, cut her off. "Sis, you've got it all wrong. He's my brother." After explaining, Arabella pointed at the man next to her and said, "And this is my fiancé, Romeo. Nice to meet you." Romeo greeted her politely. Myrna was momentarily stunned, looking again at Chaucel. Chaucel explained with a hint of helplessness, "She really is my sister, we only found her recently." Myrna was taken aback. They were real siblings? "Due to her youth and some family reasons, we haven't announced it publicly yet." So, she had been clashing with Chaucel's real sister and even got her neck cut by her? "Come in with me." Fearing her refusal, Chaucel took her hand and led her inside. Myrna had no idea how she ended up on the Collins family's doorstep or how she was getting treated with everyone watching. She had imagined coming home countless to meet Chaucel's parents, but never in such a scenario. "Does it hurt? How did you get such a serious injury?" Louisa couldn't help but ask with concern. "Should we get a doctor?" Kenneth suggested, then suddenly remembered something. "Oh right, Bella, check on your brother's girlfriend." Upon hearing girlfriend, Chaucel's hand slipped, causing Myrna to gasp from the pain. "Stop being a klutz and hurting her. Let your sister do it," Louisa said anxiously. "Chaucel, let me handle this." Arabella took the cotton swab, disinfected the wound skillfully, and then bandaged it up. "Done. Just be careful not to get it wet." Who would have thought Myrna was going to be her future sister-in-law? Arabella felt she might have gone a bit too far. Myrna sat on the sofa in the living room, feeling incredibly awkward being the center of attention for the Collins family. She had never imagined her first appearance here would be this disastrous and embarrassing. "Sweetheart, you haven't told us your name yet? When did you and Chaucel start dating?" Louisa couldn't contain her excitement. Out of all her sons, one finally had a girlfriend. "Chaucel has never brought a girl home before, you're the first." Kenneth said it with a warm smile. "Hey, someone get the coffee on. Bella, can someone who's hurt drink coffee?" "A little should be fine," Arabella replied. "Good. Edith, bring out the best coffee beans in the house." Bella gave the okay, so no worries. Myrna felt a bit awkward. "Really, there's no need. I was just passing by." No one would believe her now if she said she was just passing by. Chaucel's first love, and he didn't even know to pick you up, he made you come by yourself. Louisa said this with a reproachful look at Chaucel. What a blockhead. Didn't he know how to treat a girl gently? Just as Chaucel was about to say something, Louisa asked, "How did you get this injury?" Late at night, a beautiful girl, with a sudden wound around her neck. The road was too dark. I tripped and scratched myself a rock. Myrna took all the blame, not wanting Arabella to be scolded. How could a rock cause this kind of injury? Was it one of the rocks on our doorstep? Someone, go outside and check. Throw away all the rocks that could potentially hurt people. Louisa sighed. This girl just came to visit, and she got hurt. What would her parents think? Mom, actually, this happened because... Arabella wanted to say it was because of her. Myrna immediately interrupted her, saying, "You're Bella, right?" "I'm Myrna, nice to meet you." The name Myrna surprised Kenneth and Louisa. What did they just hear? Myrna? Louisa was shocked for a while before asking incredulously, "Your father is Aaron?" "Yes, but I don't really know him." Myrna tried to keep her composure, worried that Kenneth and Louisa would reject her like Chaucel did after knowing her identity. She didn't know her own father well? Who was she trying to fool? Arabella didn't know who Myrna was until Romeo whispered that she was the Prime Minister's daughter, and then it all clicked for Arabella. That's why Myrna said earlier that Chaucel didn't agree to be with her because of his status. So that's it. You sneaky little devil, you've got a girlfriend on the sly, and she is. Kenneth didn't finish his sentence. He was just pondering how to explain her getting hurt so soon after his arrival. Myrna, here's your coffee. The servant brought the coffee to Myrna. Louisa took it over and handed it to Myrna personally. Myrna, have a sip of coffee first. Thank you, but there's no need, I can take it. Myrna found the Collins family to be overly enthusiastic. You're new here, you might not be familiar with the place. After your coffee, I'll have Chaucel show you around. Dad, Myrna, and I. Chaucel wanted to say, Myrna and he were not what she thought. But Kenneth interrupted him with a laugh, saying, "What are you waiting for? Go on." It seemed like Myrna really liked him. Chaucel was indeed lucky to have such a pretty and sweet girl fond of him. Chaucel wanted to explain further, but Myrna had already taken his arm. There was no way he could explain now. "Your family is very warm and friendly." Myrna said she was pleased to be arm in arm with him as they headed upstairs. Chaucel glanced at her neck, his eyes flashing a hint of tenderness. "Still hurting? No pain anymore?" Myrna tried to shake her head to indicate she was fine, but the movement tugged at the wound, causing a flash of pain in her eyes. "And yet you say it doesn't hurt?" Chaucel looked at her a bit reproachfully and said, "Be more careful with your movements." Myrna, "Okay. Chaucel, why didn't you call me before you came? I heard you brought a girlfriend home. So I came to check." Myrna lowered her head as she spoke, not expecting it to be a misunderstanding in the end. Upon hearing this, Chaucel realized she came to scope out the situation. Who the hell spread this news? And why was it so inaccurate? Looking at this girl with head down, seeming to know she messed up but still looking adorable. "Is this your room? So clean, so tidy." Myrna didn't expect this man's room to reflect his personality, disciplined, low-key, but tasteful. "Yep." Chaucel showed her around and said, "Next time, just ask me directly. Don't be a dingbat waiting outside. Did any mosquitoes bite you?" "What? No." Myrna was surprised. Was he being considerate? "Chaucel, did you come in the afternoon?" "Yes." Myrna nodded. "I saw you bought a lot of stuff and I thought it was for your girlfriend." "Chaucel, so you got jealous?" "Just a tiny bit." Myrna gestured with her fingers. Chaucel couldn't help but chuckle. "Myrna, how about that? I'm pretty awesome, right? I've been tailing you for so long, and you didn't even notice. That says your counter-surveillance abilities are no good." "What do you mean, no good?" Chaucel suddenly leaned in closer to her, scrutinizing her up close. "What did you just say? In what way am I no good?" Myrna's face turned red. She suspected he was teasing her but didn't have enough proof. Chaucel pulled out his phone, ordering the kitchen staff to prepare some food. She must be hungry after waiting since the afternoon. "Chaucel, I like you, let's date." Myrna suddenly hugged him from behind, greedily inhaling his scent. "If you care about my background, I can leave my family and be with you as an ordinary person. I'm willing to do anything for you." For this, she not only underwent the strictest training but also climbed from the bottom of the Ministry of State Security to the position of Deputy Minister. Myrna said, "I've liked you for so many years, can you give me a chance?" Chaucel turned his head and stroked her hair. His gaze and voice were unprecedentedly gentle. "Then promise me, you can't let yourself get hurt anymore, okay?" Myrna froze. Did she hear right? Did Chaucel agree? Did he really just agree? "Chaucel, got it. Got it." Myrna hugged him joyfully and said, "Chaucel, you agreed. You finally agreed. After 4 years. You bloody bastard finally agreed." She'd really been waiting too long. "You're that happy?" "I'm super happy. Really super happy. I feel even better than winning the lottery." Myrna's eyes were a bit red, and she clung tightly to the man in front of her, saying, "After all the hardships, I finally have you. I want to hold you a bit longer. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future." Chaucel gently patted her head and said, "Let's go downstairs to eat something first." "No, I want to hold you a bit longer." After 4 years, she finally found this precious love. Awesome. Throughout dinner, Myra's gaze never left Chaucel. She was gawking at him like a starstruck fan would at their favorite idol, her eyes filled with admiration, affection, and excitement. Louisa, watching this scene, couldn't help but chuckle. "Chaucel, do you know what Myrna likes to eat? Pass her some more dishes. Myrna, this is your home from now on. Whatever you want to eat or drink, don't be shy." Myrna flashed a radiant smile. "Thank you, you're so kind." Louisa laughed even harder. "I'm kind? Then you should visit more often. If Chaucel is too busy to accompany you, just give me a call. I'll come pick you up myself. I have tons of Chaucel's childhood photos." "Mom, The thought of the embarrassing photos in that album made Chaucel cringe. Myrna chuckled and readily agreed, but she seemed to have moved her injury, prompting a concerned Chaucel to remind her, "Easy there." His tone was not only gentle but also a tad pampering. Louisa, seeing their sweet interaction, left the dining room gleefully, leaving them some alone time. After the meal, Myrna found out that Kenneth and Louisa had prepared a lot of gifts for her to take home, which she kept refusing. "This really isn't necessary. I didn't bring anything for you on my first visit, which was already very rude. How could you still prepare so much for me? I feel really bad," Myrna said as she took 2 large gift boxes out of the trunk to return them. "Just take them. They're just a small token for our future daughter-in-law. It's not that much." But the trunk was already packed full. Kenneth, with a beaming smile, placed the gifts and moved back into the car. Louisa also patted Myrna's hand, saying with a smile, "You being here is the best gift. You don't need to bring anything when you visit us in the future. If you feel bad, just come spend some time with us." Touched, Myrna's eyes welled up, and she hugged Louisa. "You guys are so nice." Growing up, her family atmosphere was very strict, and she rarely experienced such warmth. Her every action and word at home was restricted, she couldn't even laugh out loud. But in this house, she felt so much more relaxed and happier. Louisa felt even warmer inside when Myrna hugged her. "Good girl, if you like it here, come often. We really like you too. When Chaucel is free, bring him to your house for a visit and let us meet your parents." Upon hearing this, Myrna was even more delighted, and she hugged Louisa for a while before letting go. "Myrna, I'll take you home." The voice came from the crowd. It was Arabella. "Okay." Myrna immediately grinned from ear to ear at the sight of her. "Chaucel, Myrna and I will wait for you at the front gate." "All right." Chaucel was accepting gifts from Kenneth. The trunk was already packed, so some items were placed on the back seat. Arabella and Myrna slowly walked towards the garden, only starting to talk when there was no one else around. "Myrna, this medicine is for you." Arabella handed over a small bottle. "Use it when you need to change your dressing. The instructions are on the bottle." Myrna looked at it, touched that Arabella was still concerned about her injury, and gratefully accepted it, saying, "Thank you." "Sorry, I didn't recognize it was you. I got a little too rough there." Arabella only saw a suspicious figure lurking around her home, and she thought she was a threat to her family. No, it's my fault for popping up all of a sudden without giving you a heads up. You didn't do anything wrong." Myrna pocketed the small bottle and grabbed Arabella's hand with a grin, saying, "You could have totally offed me, but you didn't, you held back. That shows you're a kind-hearted, super gentle girl." Could the flattery get any thicker? "Myrna, I'm not hurting at all, seriously. Don't tell your family how this happened, it's all water under the bridge." Arabella got it. Myrna didn't want her to get in trouble. Who knew Myrna was this nice? From the moment she walked through the door, she had Arabella's back. As they walked forward, Myrna seemed to remember something. "Hold on, how come you're the boss of Mafia Flame? Does Chaucel know about this?" "He doesn't know." Arabella replied calmly, "It's a long story, but how did you figure out it was me?" Myrna gave a cheeky smile. "You saved me a year ago, don't you remember?" Arabella drew a blank. "I was on a secret mission and got chased down by enemies from another country. You showed up out of nowhere and took on 10 guys to help me. The move you pulled tonight was your opener back then, it left a mark." Myrna's words jogged Arabella's memory. Myrna was all bloody, chased by a gang. Despite her disguise as a man and wearing a mask, Arabella could tell from her movements and figure that she was a young woman. Arabella decided to step in because those chasing Myrna were heartless bastards who often picked fights with Mafia Flame. What surprised Arabella was that when she dealt with those guys, Myrna had already taken off. Myrna also recalled this. "Sorry, the mission was super important. Although you saved me, we were strangers. I ran because I didn't want to spill any secrets, I was afraid of getting caught again, and I was poisoned. So, I didn't have time to thank you." Who would have thought their paths would have crossed a year ago? With a serious tone, Myrna said to Arabella, "Thank you, Bella, thanks for saving me back then." "No problem." Arabella smiled and said, "Seeing you doing fine now makes me happy." "Myrna, Your moves are even sharper than a year ago, and I didn't even notice you coming close. Arabella remembered the moment when she held the knife to her throat. She couldn't help but laugh. That's because you were daydreaming. Were you thinking about Chaucel? Myrna blushed. Is it that obvious? Arabella just laughed and said, Chaucel is lucky to have you. You guys should hurry up and tie the knot. What? That's a long way away. I'm already over the moon, that Chaucel agreed. Thanks for your blessing. You're really nice, not like Serena. Hearing this, Arabella was a bit surprised. You know Serena? Yes, I've met her a few times. Myrna said casually, overall, I think she's not as good as you. Before Arabella had a chance to respond, Myrna continued, so, when I found out tonight that Serena is not Chaucel's sister, but you are, I was pretty chuffed. Arabella couldn't help but laugh at her gleeful expression. Arabella, can I come visit you at school when you're free? Myrna asked. Absolutely, Arabella responded with a warm welcome. Awesome. I live in Summerfield, you can come over to my place too. But the vibe at my house is a bit serious, not as chill as yours. Don't be scared and I'll have your back. With that, Myrna took out her phone, beaming with joy, and said, let's exchange contact information. Sure. Arabella took out her phone, and they swapped numbers. Seeing this from the shadows, Serena clenched her fists in anger. So annoying. They swapped contacts so quickly. What on earth did Arabella give Myrna in the garden that made her so fond of her? What magic did she use to win Myrna over? Maybe she was trying to butter her up, knowing Myrna's status? Gross. At the entrance, Myrna reluctantly clung to Arabella's arm and said, We've made a deal, so we must hang out when we're free. As Chaucel's girlfriend, she should buy more stuff for Chaucel's sister. Sure. Arabella responded with a smile. Chaucel, drive safe. Bye, Myrna. Bye. Myrna affectionately tousled Arabella's hair before getting in the car, saying, Our little sister is so cute and lovable. Buckle up. Chaucel leaned in to fasten her seatbelt, and Myrna planted a playful kiss on his face. Well, you shouldn't have gotten so close. Myrna teased, plus, your face is irresistible. A hint of a smile played on Chaucel's lips. Sit tight. Got it. While driving, he asked the girl beside him, You don't find Serena cute or likable? She's okay. Myrna's reaction to Serena was lukewarm at best, as if she were just a stranger. Chaucel wondered, why did neither Romeo nor Myrna like Serena? Myrna's attitude towards Serena had never been as warm as her attitude towards Bella. Could it be that Serena's behavior was off-putting? As he drove, Chaucel asked casually, If I could only have one sister, who would you pick? Definitely Arabella. Myrna's expression was like, was this even a question? Chaucel's gaze deepened, and he asked again, why? Myrna, don't you think she is thoughtful, kind, and gentle? The key point is that she is beautiful, elegant, smart, meticulous, and a joy to be around. Where else are you going to find such a perfect sister? Chaucel glanced at her and said, You sure know how to flatter someone. I'm only speaking the truth. Myrna contemplated for a moment, then looked at Chaucel and said, There's something you might not want to hear, but I prefer Bella to Serena. She has a broad perspective, principles, responsibility, reason, and initiative. Initiative? Do you mean her ability to hit you? Chaucel couldn't help but laugh. That's not it. When did she ever hit me? Myrna defended Arabella. If it were you and you found someone spying on your house, wouldn't you confront them? Bella is super gentle, otherwise I'd be shark food by now. Chaucel chuckled. Myrna really knew how to stick up for Arabella.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.